Oh my gosh, are people actually crying? I think I see tears. Okay, this is how I feel about Rob. There were a lot of people who auditioned for the role. I think it's in the thousands, actually. They looked at so many people, and it was actually getting kind of, crap, are we going to find Edward? What are we going to do? And then they said, okay, we had an audition. It was fantastic. What do you think about Rob Pattinson? And I said, well... And I'm like, I haven't thought about that. Give me a second. And I went and, watched Harry Potter 4, and I looked at all these pictures, and I said, you know what? He's got the whole vampire thing going on. So I think that he'll do a really good version of Edward. But in my head, it was always separate. He was going to be doing his version of Edward. He was going to be great. But so then I actually saw him on the set, go from being Rob to, morphing into Edward. And he looked like the way I picture Edward in my head. It freaked me out. He is, I just have to say, he's amazing in this role. And when you see him on December 12th, oh my gosh. Anybody who ever doubted what he could do, his performance is unbelievable.
Why do you think so many Twilight readers, I'm talking to some of you here, have such strong ill will towards Jacob Black?
Okay. Yes. There are always the very ardent Jacob fans who make me very happy, because it's the thing. I do not get that ill will. Now, I think what it stems from is that people fell in love with Edward to the point where they're like, what? There are other boys in the world? Are you kidding me? These are so unnecessary. And then I think that they don't let themselves be open to what an incredible person Jacob is.
Kind of like
but
Bella.
I hope that over time, people will, he doesn't sparkle, but he's warm. He has a lot of really amazing things about him, and I hope that as people kind of, read it again, maybe someday they'll be able to see how magnificent Jacob truly is.
In the same vein, Alina says, in Eclipse, when Bella is sleeping in the tent and Jacob and Edward talk, Jacob says that he had a game plan with Bella. Edward says maybe it would have worked. It was a well-thought-out plan. What was that plan?
Now, all you Jacob haters out there, I want you to remember that without Jacob, we would not have the tent scene. So just think about it. Okay, so Jacob's plan, you see, I know what would have happened if Bella had not jumped off the cliff, because I thought about all the possible plot lines, and even when something happens the way it does, and I know that's the right way, I still always trace out all the alternatives paths that they could have gone down. And so I know how Jacob's plan would have worked, and it was a slow escalation of physicality. He knows. Jacob is a very smart kid, and he knew that if he said to Bella, hey, Bella, I think that you should be my girlfriend, because it's time you got over this Edward freak, and let's move on. Right? So his response to that would be, he knew that she would say, never, my heart is buried, and we're not going on. At the same time, he knows that when he holds her hand, she squeezes back, and she enjoys being near him. So he was just going to work that angle.
Wow. Jennifer asks, we fans have our favorite moments of the book to read and reread. What are your favorite parts of the Twilight series?
Excellent. Okay. So we already mentioned the tent scene. Yeah. For me, that was really like the culmination of the other two books and all of Eclipse to get to this moment where you have Edward and Jacob being honest with each other. I really loved writing that. I also, the meadow scene, obviously. It's the whole reason that I'm a writer and that we're all here screaming tonight. And then, as terrible as it sounds, there was a great deal of beauty for me in writing Chapter 3 of New Moon. It was soul-crushing, but knowing what was really going on and the depths of the emotions I could make myself feel while I was writing that,